It's just like when I worked, everybody, they had all the certifications, all the computer certifications, but they had never applied them in the real world.
So at some point, you got the crazy idea, like, I'm not going to do this anymore. Tell me about that.
Like, I just didn't have any data. I didn't have any data to pull from.
Being in the age of information, the thing that I really say to people is like, AI has information. They don't have the expertise.
They sent me, and I had to go live on a Navy ship to do our task on a Navy ship for 7 days. They sent me because I was a single guy. Now I know I could have went to human resources. I didn't know that back then. And I'm like, this is not how I want to live my life, because I had to leave my clients for 7 days.
I would imagine at some point you realize that's not sustainable.
But I didn't go back. So that was what took me from the corporate IT world into the fitness industry.
Welcome to Do Small Business Like a Big Boss, where we explore the real stories, hard-earned lessons, and game-changing strategies of entrepreneurs who've moved beyond the side hustle and built businesses that scale with confidence. This show is proudly sponsored by Project Icon. I'm your host, Aisha Jorge Massengill, your small business legal guide. Let's dive in. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Do Small Business Like a Big Boss. I am your host, Aisha, your small business legal guide. And today I am thrilled to have with us David Girton of LiveNow Fitness. Welcome, David.
Thank you, Aisha. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's wonderful having you. So at Do Small Business Like a Big Boss, we want to highlight business owners who have gotten it out the mud, people who have started their businesses and had to travel the different story arcs of how they're trying to build it and make it successful so that people coming behind them can follow up on those lessons and maybe save themselves some headaches along the way. And so I thought it would be a wonderful opportunity to chat with you about your journey and the wonderful ways that you have been impacting people's lives now for over a decade, nearly 2. So welcome. And I just wanted to start with, before we get to how you built it, where did you first start getting the inkling that you wanted to go down this path of fitness?
So it kind of happened by accident, literally by accident. I was always into fitness, played basketball all the time. Long story short, I would work out a little bit. I would dibble and dabble in the gym, but the main part of the gym for me was the basketball court. But I broke my hand, or somebody broke my hand while I was playing ball, so I couldn't play ball. It's my right hand. I couldn't play. I was in a big cast. And so I was like, what can I do? I still got to stay active. Ran a little bit. I was like, no. But so I got into the gym, started working out, was doing what I could in the gym. And just one day I was like, man, I really dig being back here. I really enjoy this. And got the cast off, and, I started playing ball again a little bit, but I didn't have the same fire. It was like, I always wanted to be back in the gym working out. Like, I really fell in love. And next thing you know, I'm buying magazines, learning more about it. It's like, whoa, I really dig this stuff. So my nephew saw what I was doing with working out, and he's like, hey man, can I work out with you, Unc? I'm like, yeah, sure. I didn't really know what I was doing at the time, but he worked out with me. And, I helped him, lose 25 pounds.
Wow.
Just through just going to the gym and eating a little bit better. Not much coaching going on, other than just showing up at the gym. And so he lost 25 pounds. Somebody actually saw him and said, hey, who's training you? And then they contacted me, and then I'm like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. I don't know what I'm doing. I said, let me research getting certified. I got certified, didn't really tell anybody except for the people that were asking. And then I started training them for free until I really had my feet underneath me. And that's pretty much how it happened, by accident. I had an accident of getting hurt on the basketball court. back here in the gym, it's like, yo, I really dig this. And it just became everything that I did. Like when I was going to my work, my day job, lunch break, I'm looking at fitness magazines. Get off work, I'm training people. Before work, I started training people. So that's the story in a nutshell of how it came about.
So one thing you said that's interesting is you got the certification, but you didn't tell anybody. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, I didn't tell anyone because, it was I still didn't know I didn't really know what I was doing. Like I had the knowledge, but I didn't feel confident at the time in, man, I can really coach people, even though I had a certification. So the people that asked me, I said, hey, let me use you as my beta, for my tech career. Let me use you as my beta. Let me train you. I'm going to train you for free. When I'm ready to charge, you honor that and you become my first paying clients. And I did that for somewhere around 6 months because I still have my day job. So I wasn't tripping on the money. I just looked at it as, man, I'm going to gain some valuable experience and I don't have the pressure of people paying their money and saying, hey, I need this. I got to have this result. So it really helped me get my feet under me as a trainer and really start to learn what I was supposed to be doing.
So it's interesting that you talk about that you got certified, so you got the information, but you didn't quite feel good enough about applying that expertise. You wanted to get more of that under your belt. What else can you share about that process and the importance of
Because
connecting
I
the expertise with the knowledge?
because it's the whole thing of I'm sure you have people that have, everything in law, but they don't have any practical experience. It's just like when I worked, everybody they had all the certifications, all the computer certifications, but they had never applied them in the real world. Yeah, I knew the science that I needed to know to pass this certification, but I didn't know anything about the nuance of coaching someone. That's a big responsibility.
Hmm.
And that's the way I saw it right away was this is a big responsibility. And then, you got to have insurance and you got to do all these things to set yourself up correctly. I didn't want to move too fast, so fast that I missed steps. I think that's the world that we live in. We want things so fast. So I'm
Hmm.
happy that I did it back then that I knew like, hey man, you have a day job. Let's just baby step into this. And that's something I teach now. Like, let's just baby step into this, get your foundation, and then you can start charging people. And they actually had, a lot of respect for that. And they became, longtime clients because they saw my track, my growth, my journey, and they were part of that. So
I
hope
would
that
have
answers
to,
the question.
yeah, it does absolutely, and I would think, I would have to imagine too the different encounters that you were having with your clients, whether it be like a mindset resistance to adopting and changing a lifestyle, or the idea of the things that they can and cannot do. You having to live that experience with them also helped you grow and be better as a trainer. Is that fair?
Abs- Absolutely, absolutely, it did, and that's a great point because that was a part of my thinking. Like I just didn't have any data. Like I didn't have any data to pull from, so I needed to build my own data, and that's what I saw. My first few years of me like just building my own data, and then building my toolbox because Aisha, I used to be when I got certified, I had a clipboard. I had I had my template this is what we're gonna do here, this is what we're gonna do here, and this is what we're gonna do here. And I'm like clipboard in hand, walking a client through it, and it was a great experience because I had to take my time and really learn about what I was doing,
Yeah.
instead of, because you see it all the time in my industry. People get these certifications over the weekend, they become a trainer. Next thing you know, they're a trainer.
Mhm.
And there's no practical experience. They just think that, hey, I know how to teach jumping jacks, you know? But it's much more nuanced than that. And that's what I knew that I didn't have. I didn't have the nuance to be a good trainer.
Yeah, I do deal with it, especially, being in the age of information. The thing
Mhm.
that I routinely say to people is like, "Yeah, AI has information. They don't have the expertise. They don't it doesn't give you the lived experience." So for you, going through the how do you teach people to eat better? How do you teach people to move better? And seeing resistance or the different ways that it might present itself in your world, it's the same for me that yeah, you can look that up, but when you're sitting across from an individual and you're trying to solve a problem for them, there's nothing that artificial intelligence can do that prepares you how to navigate the human emotion when they're going through something. Um, so what I heard you say was when you started, it was something you had a spark, but you weren't really interested in leaving your day job. You weren't really pressed to make money. So at some point, you got the crazy idea, like, I'm not going to do this anymore. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so, so now we can fast forward. So now I'm training people before work. I'm training people after work. So I've got a nice little roster, from 5 in the morning to 7 in the morning to, 4 in the afternoon to 8 at night. And I was only doing personal training. So I got a nice little roster of clients that I have. And it becomes harder and harder to sit at the day job when I have this pool of, man, I'm really alive when I'm coaching these people. I'm really alive when I'm learning this stuff. When I have to open up this tech book, I'm like, and then on the flip side, I'm reading about fitness and how to eat all night and wide awake. So that starts to click the just it being hard to go to work. I start to punch my badge and I just get this sinking feeling. I start to get the Mondays, on
Mhm.
Sunday afternoon, I start to, oh man, it's Monday. And then the really big thing that happens, so I'm a tech guy and I could work partly from home, but I had to go to customers too. So I'm on a team and I'm on this team with all these guys and we all work from home and we had to go to customer sites. The real big push, Aisha, was I was the only single guy on the team. So they sent me and I had to go live on a Navy ship to do our task on a Navy ship for 7 days. They sent me because I was the single guy. Now I know I could have went to human resources. I didn't know that back then. Like
Yes,
you can't do that to somebody.
right.
Hey, but you got the freedom. I
Hmm.
rode with it. I'm a mission guy. Did that, and I'm like, yo, this is not how I want to live my life because I had to leave my clients for 7 days. I couldn't do anything. So then after that, they assigned me to Reston, Virginia. And for the folks that don't know, from here to Reston, Virginia, it's only 35 miles, but it's like
Yes,
135. It's like
yes,
135
yes.
miles. So they send me down there and it's really messing with my schedule. Like I'm having to cancel appointments, all these things. And one day, Aisha, I have this car ride. It's raining. It took me over 3 hours to get home. I go to my manager the next day and I'm like, "Hey man, I just can't do this. Like this is a quality of life issue for me. I want to live. Hey, we can give you you can stay in a hotel during the week and then you can just come home on the weekends." It's like, "Yo, that's rest in Virginia." No, I want to be at home.
Right.
I want to be at home. So that was one. The second one was we go in for our annual increase. Hey, we're not giving annual increases this year because of, what's going on in the company. I understand. Okay, cool. But we can give you a Best Buy gift card so that you can go get you a gaming system or a TV or something like that. If you're into those type of things. Right then, Aisha, that was the moment for me. Truly.
Mm, mm.
That was the moment that a grown man was telling another grown man, you can get a TV or a gaming system. I was like, for me, I couldn't live my life like that anymore. It just became a thing of not even so much just, entrepreneurs talk about freedom a lot,
Mhm,
but
mhm.
I guess it was that. It was man, I'm a grown man. Like, when I'm not doing this and you're inconveniencing my life, I'm spending all this time on the road. So that was what took me there. Then I went in maybe a few months later. We had this thing where we could take a hiatus for a year. I could keep my medical coverage for like 6 months. And then a year, my job would still be there. After a year, I could still go back to my job. I took the hiatus. My manager told me at the time, "I know what you got going on, David. I know you're not coming back." And I didn't go back. I thought about it.
Mhm.
It's easier, that's the pull. But I didn't go back. So that was what took me from the corporate IT world into the fitness industry.
That's so fascinating because I feel so many parallels in my own life. Number one is like you get a spark, and then there's a tug or pull that puts you in a state of dis-ease with your current circumstance. But at some point, I always say that growth and comfort can't occupy the same space. So they dangled comfort in front of you, right? Like, come back, your job's still here. But that's for their pleasure. And, I think when you get on the entrepreneurial journey, having the wherewithal to set comfort aside for your freedom, because
Yeah,
freedom's not free, and sometimes you pay the price with the comfort. Losing your comfort is the price you pay for the freedom. So it's very interesting, to hear you talk
absolutely.
about that.
Absolutely.
So you say, nah, keep your health insurance, which nowadays is like a very big deal to say 6 months. I'm gonna leave 6 months of health insurance. I'm gonna leave the surety of a new job. I know I have these clients on the bookends of my days, right? I'm training before, training after, but what were the steps that you took initially to say, okay, how do I feel the rest of my day?
Aisha, I'm just gonna keep it 100 with you. I didn't even think about that. I just knew that I couldn't live because I started to think about, man, am I gonna do this for the next at the time, am I gonna do this for the next 25, 30 years? Is that what I want my legacy to be? That I just punched my badge, even though I had this this thing that really pulled at me that I really felt like was my calling. I made the switch, and as a lot of entrepreneurs do, man, I figured it out on the go. And I believe in frequency. I believe
Mhm.
in, the energy that we create. And I just created the energy, and I was just so passionate about it that, man, clients just came.
Mm,
Like, just word of mouth, and before you know it, Aisha, I'm in DC at 5 4:30 in the morning. I'm in DC on my client's stairs at 4:30 in the morning. I'm at another DC client by 5:30. Some days I may travel from DC over to Bowie for a client, then get back to my house, have a client, have lunch, and then in the evening, do this thing, afternoon, evening, do this thing, or maybe even have to go back to DC. But I was so willing to do it.
Mhm.
And it was hard. It was hard, but it was so I don't I never had that sort of satisfaction and rewarding feeling from fixing people's computers.
Yeah.
It
And
was
so
just different.
at some point you're driving all around the DMV, right, helping clients, and then I understand you're doing some of this out of your own house, right? Is
Yeah.
that during the same period of time where you're going around?
It's from the beginning, from the beginning when I was doing it for free. I turned my basement. I got a treadmill, I got a bike, a recumbent bike, a treadmill, and I got some weights. And that was it. And I would do it in my house. I would pack up my car, put whatever I needed in my car, go to houses. If they didn't have thing, go to their houses. And that's the way I would train folks outside. I'd be at parks, you know, before, a lot of if coaches are watching, trainers are watching this, they know like going in people's gyms where I shouldn't have been, you know, training under the radar, I did it all. I did it. I've trained in living rooms that are, you know, 4 by 4. I've done it every way possible.
I would imagine at some point you realize that's not sustainable.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
did
I
that
mean, so what happened, so the group, I don't know if you know this, but the group happened, so I started doing group training. And the only way that happened was a young lady came to me and said, "David, I hear all of this great work that you're doing, but I know what personal training costs. Have you thought about," and I can still see Tiffany in my head, "have you thought about a group program?" And this was the time when boot camps were really starting to like come out. Group training boot camps really started to like come out. So took it to my business partners at the time and we're like, okay, let's find a spot. And we found the soccer dome, because, my partner Bruce at the time, his son, he was like, man, my son plays soccer. I think we can rent a field. And that's what we did. We rented a field and we started having class. We had started initially with, 2 evenings a week. Tuesdays and Thursday evenings is where we started to scale, so to
Mhm.
speak. And through the soccer dome, kept our overhead low. And, still a lot of things we didn't know at the time, but that's how we knew that my basement, and then I didn't want my basement to be a long-term solution because it was mixing too much business with home.
Mhm.
I felt like, you know, I'm at work when I'm here,
Yeah.
and I didn't want that feeling.
Lack of separation.
Yeah.
Mhm. So you mentioned you had business partners and you're now going to point, okay, now you got to do this group training, you need a facility. Um, from a financial perspective, how did you approach those early days? And then we'll talk later about how you approach them now and what the business is looking like now.
Oh, man. So, I had savings. Um, and I know you're probably gonna ask this question down the road. So I had savings and, I started to dip in to my savings because I had made a nice chunk of change on the side with training. Um, but I didn't really know how to navigate a business. I knew, hey, I gotta make money, I gotta pay this, I gotta pay that, but just all of the nuance, I was missing out on a lot of that stuff. Got investments from the partners and, we all had our roles, but none of us truly knew how to operate a business. So we were just learning on the go. And one thing that stuck out was we were just learning way too many hard lessons.
Mm.
Way too many just hard lessons. We didn't really negotiate like our rental agreement at the thing. They told us what it was, and then hey, this is it.
Mhm.
We didn't negotiate any of these other things. Like we didn't even really have a signed rental agreement with the soccer dome. It was just,
Mm.
hey, you're gonna pay this price for the hour that you want to be there twice a week. You pay this. So there was just so many things, that I would tell someone now. The first thing I would tell them is get a business coach. Like that solves so many hard problems that you don't have to. That's why people are hiring me as a coach to help
Mm.
them solve
Mhm.
hard problems. I didn't know anything about any of that at the time. So the financial aspect, it was just, I knew how to pay bills.
Mhm.
I know how to pay my bills. But then Aisha, just the conversation goes into, marketing and marketing budget and, equipment and replacing equipment. It's just like so many things that I didn't think about. I just wanted to coach and train people.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so most of my time was spent doing that. In the beginning, I didn't really think about the business aspect, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I was just passionate and I was making money and I was able to maintain a lifestyle that I wanted to live.
So that changed for you at some point.
Yeah, it changed for me when I started meeting more people in the industry and I started going to conferences, like getting outside of my box. Like that was probably the most important thing, was getting outside of my box, getting away from, well, actually me and one of the partners, we went to a conference, and these conferences started to open our mind. Like, we were here and we started to see out here, oh, we need to do that. Oh, we need to do that. Oh, there's a table where they do fitness business coaching.
Mm.
And it's like, oh, there's this fitness business system where they're going to give us all of the documents and everything that we need to have. Oh, who knew? You know what I mean? And so we get that, and it
Mhm.
starts to make things easier. Then it's, oh, man, we get coaching. I can get coaching. I can add in coaching. We add in the coaching. Oh, you can help me do this. You got me. And then that's when like things really started to change. But that was some years in when when that happened, when it was like, hey, I need coaching. And now I know that I need coaching all the time.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like, all the like, for life.
And even a coach needs coaches.
Even all the best coaches have coaches,
Mhm.
some people call them mentors, but they're coaching.
Yeah. So you go from the soccer dome,
Mhm.
you kind of put belts and suspenders, just piecing things together, but you make this decision to really blow out Live Now Fitness and bring group training to your own location. Can you tell me about that process?
Yeah, so that's a conversation where, we grew, and we grew to a point to where, the soccer field could have the capacity, but we grew to a point through everything that we were learning that we wanted to offer a better product. And we couldn't offer that product in someone else's house.
Mm.
We didn't upgrade, what I mean? We didn't have any control over upgrading the bathrooms. We didn't have any control over somebody's on the field. They got trash all on the field before us. We got to clean up. We wanted more control over our environment. And we made the decision and we went and we started searching for places so that we could have clean bathrooms. Like, that was one of the big things for us, so that we could have clean bathrooms, clean showers, and a clean facility because the soccer dome at times could be a lot where we were.
Mm.
So we
Mhm.
just wanted more. I guess that was another time where I gained freedom, the freedom to do things the way that I pictured them in my mind because I never saw a brick and mortar. Never saw it until we got to a point of, man, we just can't. Hey, we got a lot of clients now. We got a lot of clients. Like, we just can't. And clients were bringing their own equipment sometimes, and because we had a whole Joy sent me the other day. She still has it. We had a whole survival pack that our clients had to bring their dumbbells, their
Wow.
resistance band. And we would tell them, what was needed each class. They had a whole calendar. I'll send it to you.
Mm. Okay.
They had a whole calendar that they had to follow, and we just wanted to be more of an established business to where we could control our environment. And that's why in like was 2014, we said, "Hey, we're gonna move." And that's what we did.
So 2014 you move, you're still doing group training. Tell me about the team that you built around you as you started doing that expanding.
So I had by this time, one of the partners had left. So I still had, one of the founding, partners with me. And then, our staff was assembled through clients that actually had a background in fitness
Mm.
initially.
Mhm.
So, I don't know, universe, universe was like, we're gonna- we got you, because we knew we needed more coaches. And that's when, somebody was like, hey man, Quana does this at other gyms.
Mm.
Really? And we get her, and then another, clients would start to approach us and say, "Hey, I really want to do this. I really want to do this." And so we went through different iterations of, bringing on clients that way. It was good because they knew the culture that we
Mm.
were that we were that we were cultivating. So that's how we've built a team, and all these years later, that's still the main way that we've built the team. Like, we put out, other than, Coach Darius, he came through an ad, which
Mm.
I think again was the universe saying, we got you. You know what I mean? Because Coach Leslie was a client before, that had this background in fitness. So I just think it's just been a thing where I've just been, right place, right time,
Mm.
right people, right
Yeah.
time, where we've been able to, build a team that's uh, sustained.
Mhm. So let's talk about scaling
Hmm.
because you were leading classes and also still doing some personal training. But at some point, you had to make a pivot again that the personal training wasn't sustainable. Tell me a little bit about, for you, about that decision. Uh, and then we can talk about also the work that you're doing with the help debt coach, because I think that also played a role in it.
Yeah, my coach, my shout out to my business coach Camellia for a lot of years. She just told me, in order for you to grow as a, because she asked me a question one time. She said, what business are you in? And I was like, I'm in the fitness business. She was like, no, you're not. And I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "No, you're just in business. You're just in business, and your main job in this business is not fitness. Your main job is," she said, "making it rain. As the owner of the
Mm,
company, your main duty is making it rain. So if you're spending time on the floor, the majority of your time on the floor, you can't scale the business because you're tired, or
mm,
you've gotta eat at this time, or you've gotta do this, or you've gotta tend to all these personal training clients because that takes a lot of effort and energy to do that." So she just got me thinking like, "Okay, can't do that." So I just start to scale back my personal training by giving those clients to other staff members and actually freeing up my time in a way to where I can work on rainmaking rainmaking duties,
mhm.
because and I this is when I was training, it was an hour. Like sessions were personal training sessions were an hour. So that was a lot of time. If you say, there's days I might train 13 people.
Mm. Whew, wow.
So think about, so that's a lot of drain. 13 individual people was a lot of drain on your energy, because you got 13 different personalities. And so she was just explaining to me, like, that's just not going to be sustainable for you as the owner when you have to do all these other things. You got to pay taxes. You gotta, you gotta manage staff. You have to, pay overhead. You have to do all these. You got to do marketing, sales and marketing. You got to put out fires here and there. How are you going to do that and then be able to give this client the energy that they
Mm.
are paying for and deserve? So,
Yeah. I think, there's, like, a famous book about called The E-Myth by Michael Gerber, and he talks about working on the business or in the business, and at some point, as an entrepreneur, you have to find that way to make space to work on the business. So, it was great that you had that advice in action. So, how big
yeah,
is LiveNow Fitness now?
how big?
How many members are you guys training?
We float around, 160, 170 members. And, that was one of the things, my business coach worked with me on too is, how many members do you want? And then it's not necessarily that you want more quality is
Mm,
what you want. You want more quality, not necessarily volume, because, volume brings on volume problems.
mhm,
You know what I mean? It's, you start to get into pricing and all of these different dynamics on how can I do this with, if my sweet spot is 150, like what needs to happen? You know what I mean? Like what needs to happen with my pricing? What needs to happen with all the things that I install so that I can generate what I need to generate?
yeah, I think, for entrepreneurs and attorneys alike, you don't just wanna be what they call a door business, that you take anything that comes through the door. The more you're in business, you realize, like, all money ain't good money. And,
No,
you have to in the beginning, I think, you're just so hungry to grow and feed your business, you have a lot more flexibility in what you're willing to take on, and you realize that that price is not worth it sometimes to just
oh,
take anything.
now it's not worth it at all. And like, as you said before, it was, man, I gotta get this money. So
Mhm.
I'm making the deals and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. But that all that stuff starts to, that's what I would tell any young entrepreneurs, like, know your value and stand by your value, because people that value you and really understand that value are going to pay you what you deserve. And you don't have to diminish who you are just because, you want you think you gotta have more business because once you diminish who you are, people don't treat you with the same reverence that if they came in the door and like, this is who I am. Can you do it or not? And a lot of times small business owners, we don't put ourselves on the level of, let's just say, like a Nordstrom or something like that,
Mhm.
you know, or whatever big businesses are out there. We think that we have to like backpedal. Like we have to backpedal on things when that's not the way business goes. When people want something, they pay for it. But that's a big hurdle for small business owners to get over because, we have this thing in our heart that we want to help people. And then, we got to pay bills. And it's like, yeah, I'll do it this time. But that just starts to eat at you and eat at you. Like, man, I did this, I did that, I did this. And then you're looking at it and it's just not a good feeling long term.
Mhm.
And there's a
Mhm.
lot of catch up that you have to do because you sacrificed your value.
Yeah, that idea of value, I can't emphasize enough, and you're right. Um, it takes a minute, I think, for entrepreneurs to get there, to understand that what you provide is worthy of being paid for and compensated well. Um, and at some point, you'll just be like, the price is the price is the price. Would love to work with you, but that is in fact
The,
the price.
the, the
With
price,
your
and
whole chest, with your whole
with your whole
chest.
chest. And then it's like now I realize now, like I've been in this 17 years. So you're paying me for that. Like, you're not just paying me just because you just showed up on the doorstep and this is new to you. No, I've been at this for 17 years. So there's a lot of value there, and it's something now that I'm not afraid of anymore. And I think that's what it was. You just have this thing of, you got this person in front of you, you want to help them. And it's like, but that's the thing, right? It's like, because when you go, they're fine when they go to bed. When you go to bed, you're
Right.
they good.
Bills are still due.
They got a deal. They like
Yeah,
good.
I would just get ready to say that people are always looking for a deal
They
instead
got
of
it.
value. What do you get for what you're paying?
And here's the deal: like, there's no deals on your health with what I
Mhm.
do. With what I do, if you want to bargain shop on your health, you're
Wow,
coming to me. That's on you. You know,
wow.
I see health as it doesn't matter how much money either of us make in our businesses. We want quality of life.
Absolutely.
That's what we want. So we understand that, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna pay $10 for that, or I'm gonna pay $200 for it. Because I understand what my wellness
Mhm.
is worth. And that's
Yeah,
the same thing with my value as LiveNow Fitness as the health deck coach. Like I understand what my value is now.
absolutely. All right, I got a couple more questions. I'm gonna get you out of here.
Mhm.
You've mentioned the importance of having a good coach, no matter what level you're at. You mentioned kind of unofficially having that board of directors, your business partners, being in other groups. What are some of the other experts that you've come to rely on as a business owner to help you mature your business from just a side hustle where you're training people on what I would call the sandwich, the bread of the sandwich, and instead making it an entire meal? Like, what are some of
Mm.
the other experts you relied on?
Well, I mean, of course, the financial aspect, I think that goes
Mm,
without saying. And then, something that I don't think people talk about enough is the mental health part of it. As a business owner, like business owners are some of the most stressed,
mhm,
depressed, anxious people ever because you don't have that every 2 weeks. You're gonna get X amount of dollars. It's
mhm.
I I gotta
You can
generate this,
tell.
and it can do like this. So having someone to help you, whether it's a spiritual person or a mental health expert, I didn't. I didn't know that I needed that, but
Yeah.
I've had it periodically through, and it's really helped me, especially, if we talk again, I can tell you, the breakdowns that I've had with my body and my mind,
Hmm.
through stressing about that. So, the financial aspect, just having a overall general business coach, you know, a mental health coach. Business owners need to have a fitness coach because you need to be resilient. Like,
Hmm.
you need to be healthy to do this thing.
Yeah.
So that's the team of that you need, that I think, that's the start of the team that you need around you.
Excellent. So you really dropped some gems for our listeners. I heard you talk about starting with some savings, making sure you have coaching, several times, networking, even though you didn't talk about it as networking, you talked about this person referred that person, talked about the systems that in the process of meeting other people, they taught you about having good systems. So those are some gems. Are there any last little gems or nuggets you want to leave for the listeners who are on this journey from entrepreneurism, doing their small business, and how to get to do it like a big boss?
Yeah, I'm glad you said the thing about the networking, getting around other business owners, because a lot of times we can stay in our own box. So, joining your masterminds, joining your chamber of commerce, like, there's so many groups that you can join on social media sites and whatnot. So, like,
Hmm.
doing those things and getting out of your box
Mm,
as much as possible, because that's what we can do. We can stay mired in what we have to do here, that we don't get broader perspective as when we go out and we see other people and see how, and I mean any type of business. It doesn't have to be in your industry, because I've borrowed things from all sorts of businesses where
mhm,
I brought it into here. So just getting out of your box and meeting people in different industries, masterminding with them, like asking questions. I know we know that whole thing of, you know, asking questions, but a lot of times we just think that we know how to do it. And
mm,
we're just gonna, like, don't hammer your way. There's this Wayne Dyer story. I have to
uh,
tell Wayne Dyer, but
mhm,
this story that he tells about, a person getting over the problem, and it's like you keep beating yourself over the head when there's this solution right here that you just don't want to take. You
mhm,
just keep going the route that just feels right in your head. And that's where, like, getting out of your box, it gives you perspective. It helps you out. So that's the thing that I would say, just get out of your box. So it helps you get out of your own way, because entrepreneurs too, we're free spirits to a
mhm.
certain extent. So we think that, we're gonna make it happen.
Yeah.
You know, we're gonna make it happen. And most times we do, but we need help. So,
Yeah,
like, you don't do anything in isolation.
yeah, like, I don't know how, but I know Imma do it. It's just
I
gonna
know Imma
be
do it.
know Imma
Know
do
I'll
it.
do it. Right. And to your point, AI is not gonna help you through all of that.
Mm-mm,
You need
mm,
to talk to some real people, get some real life experience. So just getting out of your box, because it's easy to hide in your box.
yeah, yeah. Well, David, you have given us tons of wonderful information. Please share with the listeners where they can find you. You have a lot of irons in the fire, a lot of places where people can find you. So
Mm.
drop the jewels
Just
on
let's
where
just
some of the
go with
places are.
LiveNowFitness.com is the easiest way to find me. LiveNowFitness.com, easiest way to find me.
Easy. All
So that's
right,
where
you
I'm gonna
heard him.
that's where I'm LiveNowFitness.com, info@LiveNowFitness.com if you want to shoot us an email. That's the easiest way to find me. That's something else that I've learned, is just make it simple for
Make it
folks.
simple. Just do
Yeah.
KISS. Keep it simple, silly.
Keep
The
keep
other
it simple.
word.
Yes.
David, thank you so very much for your time and your
Thank
talents.
you.
Appreciate you tremendously. And we'll see everybody on the other side. Thank
All
you.
right, man. Peace.
That concludes this episode of Do Small Business Like a Big Boss. You've got the tools, you've got the knowledge. Now go execute like the boss that you are. Hit subscribe, Share this with your business bestie, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Until then, think big and act like the big boss that you are. See you next time.